And we are live. Yes, we are live on Let's Think Podcast. I'm your host, Sheik7. First, allow me to rise. Giving all thanks and perfect praise unto Allah, highest honors to his holy prophet. Honors to the forerunner Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honors to the Most High Temple of America. Honors to my leadership, Brother L. Portisel, Grand Sheikah Sister M. Portisel. Honors to his administration. Honors to all, and I mean all, participate in the uplifting program of father, a comprehensive program of uplifting father humanity, all participating. And I give my love, my peace to all. And we have our brother Eric Johnson L, in the building today. And y'all, please excuse me. Today has been a somewhat strenuous day, but um, inshallah, we're just gonna get through it. Islam, we got our brother Eric Johnson L. Islam, brother.
Islam.
Islam,
Likewise, man. I rise, give my perfect praises and honor to Allah and His holy and divine prophet, Drew Ali. Always. Honors to everything Moorish. Honors to everybody on the call. Honors for having me, Aki. Appreciate it.
all is well. Alhamdulillah. We appreciate you for coming. Um, and to everybody in the chat, everybody who tunes in, everybody who supports Let's Think Podcast, everybody who supports Let's Think Podcast, everybody who likes, everybody who shares, in whatever way that you do, well, I send my honors and my gratitude to you. I extend my love to you, and I just will that you continue to do so. Um, Again, we're in the building with Brother Eric Johnson L. He wants to speak about something today, and I think this is a very interesting topic, and it's one topic that I haven't heard many people actually build on, direct on, and especially with the connections that you speak about. Um, we're talking about the Battle of Mecca in 1924, right? And when we start speaking about the control of the holy city and the control of the Islamic narrative, this becomes a very interesting and very important event and ordeal. So our brother here is coming to speak about a couple things about this, and he wanted to enlighten the listening audience and the people. Um, Everybody hit the like button when you come in. Please share to your social medias. Please share to your social medias. Please hit the like button when you come in to help us with this algorithm to get this video into the algorithm. Also, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please super chat your questions. We have super chat, we have super thanks, we also have super stickers, and now YouTube has given us the ability to accept gifts. So as you know, I don't know if that'll be because this is not a vertical live. However, support the channel. Support the channel. And we'll be back live Sunday. We got another show Sunday. So we're going to strive to keep it more consistent. I know that at times one's asking, "Where you at? Where are you?" Well, life gets to life, and at times, and sometimes life can be very demanding of my time, and of my guest time. So sometimes our schedules don't align perfectly, and it doesn't give us the ability to present a good show. But however, we strive to continue to bring this content to you guys. So again, hit the like button, share to your social medias. If you have any questions throughout the presentation or our dialogue, please super chat your questions. Support. The Cash App is pinned in the comments. Matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll do this right here. I'll do this right here. What do we got? Here's the Cash App. So if you want to support via Cash App, you may be watching from your TV. You may not, you know, you may be watching from your phone and may not be able to run to your Cash App and etc. But I put the Cash App up there if you're watching from your TV. You can watch, when you're watching from computer, you got access to your phone. Always send us a Cash App, man, and support us because we're always going to bring you information. Islam. Um, our host, our co-host. Here's my also um for all upcoming people who are thinking about, excuse me, for ones who are interested in doing a podcast, if you're interested in doing a podcast and this is something that you're interested in doing and you need a platform to do it from, choose StreamYard. You know, I guess my link is posted in the chat. You can hit that referral link and get started. You know, any type of help that I can be, any type of assistance that I can be for anyone who is striving to start a podcast, um, I'll do it exactly the same way that once did for me. And I want to shout out my brother Ron Brown Bay from NYP Talk Show, New York's Perspective Talk, who gave me a lot of game, gave me a lot of a lot of information, a lot of tips on how to get myself and navigate through this podcast world. So I just wanted to shout him out, man. I want to shout him out and say honest and gratitude to the brother. So what's going on in the chat, man? I ain't got nobody. I see a couple of people in here. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? I want to leave y'all out. All right, brother. I guess we're gonna get to it. Let's get to it, brother. All right, brother. All right, brother. Now, I know you got some things. Me and you had this dialogue off camera. Of course, we always speak off camera. We always share
Yeah.
information. So, and you said you want to speak about the Battle of Mecca, 1924. Now, in the Moorish paradigm, we know the significance of 1924 because it was prior to 1925, and we know, you know, of our prophet's arrival in Chicago, 1925, and you know, so forth and so on, right?
Correct.
However, what does this Battle of Mecca 1924, how important is it to the landscape of the Islamic narrative and the perception of Islam today? And even prior, and even just explain it to us, brother. Walk us down that lane. Let's see. Allow us to give us a vision of what's going on here.
Okay. Well, the Battle of Mecca in 1924. That was a very important year for Islam and for us in the Moorish Science Temple of America. Um, the reason being is we know that the Prophet Drew Ali, right after that in 25, appeared in Chicago, but his life before 25 from New Jersey transitioning over into Chicago, and simultaneously those years from World War I on up,
Mm,
because there were two battles of Mecca. One was in 1916, and the second one was in 1924.
mm,
Okay, now the one that was in 1916, I remember Drew Ali started the Moorish Divine National Movement in 16. And same year was no, that was 13, the Federal Reserve Act. That was 1913. But in 1916, he defeated Sharif Hussein bin Ali defeated the Ottomans,
mm,
and they actually wanted him to be the custodian of the mosque in Mecca and Medina. And his rival, which was he's on page 2 of our Holy Quran, which is Abdul Aziz ibn Saud.
Hold on. Allow me to do something right quick. Go ahead and keep speaking. I'm gonna put that picture up so ones can get a. a good a visual of what you're speaking about. But go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, and well, Ibn Saud in 1916 he was supportive of Sharif Hussein bin Ali, and Sharif Hussein bin Ali was the original custodian in Mecca and Medina before 1924,
Mm.
and he was and that was the year that he was taken out of power was 1924. But Sharif Hussein bin Ali, they supported him at first, and then they backdoored him in 1924. You know, and if you
Yeah.
read through the papers of Sharif Hussein bin Ali, you would get a more clearer picture of how he viewed Wahhabism, Salafism, and the Saudi religious aspect as a whole.
Mm.
And that's
Yeah, talk
pivotal
to us about it.
because a lot of people today would accuse the Saudi family of colonizing Arabia, and that's exactly what they did. They because
Mm.
you have today a totally separate religion that strives more off of hadith than what was revealed. And
Whoa, whoa.
this is
Let's
because
stop
of
right
that.
there. And so what you're telling me now is that the prevalence or the prevalence of hadith, because being in this Islamic diaspora, what you'll understand is that exactly what you said. You have a lot of brothers and sisters who are basically place hadith above Quran. You know what I'm saying? So, are you saying that that particular narrative or that particular perspective or way of looking at this came about during that time? It wasn't prevalent prior.
What we have today and what they're calling Orthodox Islam today is the Saudi religion.
Mm,
It's the Saudi religion,
mm, mm,
and which is
mm,
Wahhabism, which is Salafism, and these are the poisons. When you read Sharif Hussein bin Ali's papers, he talks about how um, the Wahhabis' creed is to call other people non-believers and then kill them if they don't comply with their orders.
mm,
And this is the things that was taking place,
mm.
and they even have that same mentality today. Um, some of the Muslims brothers still have that same type of mentality, and yeah,
You
that's the
talking about
picture
this
right there.
brother right? This guy right here in the background. Right here. You have the Drew Ali standing right here, but then you have the guy here. That's a reflection through the page too, as well, just for one
Correct,
to know.
correct,
But however,
correct.
this guy right here.
And if you notice, if you turn the page, if you notice, it says now the head. He never ever called him leader or sultan. Now the head of the holy city of Mecca. But this guy right
Mm,
here, Ibn Saud, Abdul Aziz Ibn Saud, he was the guy who attacked Mecca in 1924.
mm,
The Battle of Mecca
mm.
was initiated by Ibn Saud.
Whoa, whoa. So I thought yep, that there he is. I think that's the brother. Hold on, brother.
Islam.
Uh,
Islam.
Islam.
More pardon my tardiness.
Yeah.
Part of
What
my
up,
tardiness,
Shorty?
man.
Yes,
I,
sir.
I was doing God's work just now.
Hey man, shouldn't we be about our father's business?
Yes, sir.
Awareness Day, awareness, peace. We got some people in the chat. Peace, awareness, peace, peace. Yeah, y'all, man. Please share to your social medias. Please share to your social medias. Hit the like button on your way in. Post it to your YouTube, your Instagram, your Facebook, your TikTok, whatever you can post it to. Go ahead and post it. Make sure you hit the like button for us though. Make sure you hit the like button for us though.
You
But
had posted on your page, Mo?
it, Islam,
You posted on your page too already?
yeah, I have on my Facebook.
Yes,
Haven't I do it throughout the other pages and all that stuff.
I got you. I got you. I'm about to.
Um, so we talking about the Battle of Mecca because, as you know, brother McGriffith, we already have a show we've done with brother Sharif Aniyah Bey
Mhm.
on Ibn Sa'd,
Yes.
and this is the individual, the brother who's in our um on our in our Moorish Holy Koran, and he's now speaking about the Battle of Mecca 1924. He brought to our awareness that there was also a Battle of Mecca. It was two of them. It was a battle in 1916 and it was a battle in 1924. And though and both of those dates both of those time frames are significant. As
Hmm.
I'm sure you already know 1916, 1924. But
Yes, sir.
anyway, he's explaining to us now. He's digging into Ibn Sa'd and
Islam.
what happened in the initiation of this particular battle. Excuse me, brother. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom.
Islam. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Ibn Saud, like I said, he initiated the Battle of Mecca, and they wanted to oust um, Sharif Hussein bin Ali, who was the
Mm-hmm.
original custodian. They wanted to oust him. For what reasons? It's speculative. Um, his his caliphate as the custodian of Mecca and Medina was an unbroken succession all the way back to the year 1201.
Mm.
So from 1201 to 1924, it was the Hashemite family who were the custodians in Mecca and Medina.
Okay.
Okay. So let's come back to 1916, 1924. 1916, this was around the First World War. Now, the First World War was about um, ending the Ottomans. It was
Mm.
all about dismantling the Ottomans. So you have 1916 when Sharif Hussein bin Ali um, defeated the Ottomans in the Hijaz, which is the original name for Saudi Arabia. It's really originally called Hijaz.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in 1918 he was elected as the Sharif of Mecca. This is Hussein bin Ali, and like I said, in 1924 was when Ibn Saud attacked Mecca. And when Ibn Saud attacked Mecca, they they Hussein bin Ali basically abjugated his throne to save further bloodshed, and he was exiled. He was exiled to Syria, and when he died, he was buried in Jerusalem next to the Dome of the Rock.
Mm. Mm.
Now, Hussein bin Ali, who was the original custodian, now there's an article that you have where
Mm.
his son was an organizer for the Moorish Holy Temple of Science.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Um, Now we don't know how much of an influence he had. There it is. Yeah, we don't know how much of an influence he had in the temple, but it still says he was an organizer. So he must have had some type of prestigious role with the prophet.
Mm.
Now we're talking about these are all around these same years. Okay,
Let's see what.
and in the Battle of Mecca is when Wahhabism, what's known as Wahhabism today, and Salafism, which today we know as basically Sunniism. This was a separate religion that took on the appearance of Islam.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
and you got to understand that Saudi Arabia didn't officially become a country or a nation until 1932. So it was actually established after the Prophet established what he established for us.
Mm.
And that's another reason why I think he's behind the Prophet in our Quran.
Mm.
Say
There's
that
some.
last. Say that part. Me. Say that last part again.
I said that's also one of the reasons why I think that he's behind the Prophet in our Quran. And I've heard that in older circle sevens that the Prophet was actually covering his mouth. In that same picture
Mm.
that you just showed,
Mm-hmm. This
yeah, this
one.
is it.
Let
I
me
mean,
see if I can
I
bring it up.
haven't seen that, but somebody told me that in the older
No,
picture.
no, brother. I have to be honest with you. I had a particular copy of that of the Circle Seven, and his hand was over his mouth.
It was over his
I don't
mouth.
know. Yes, sir. It was.
Yeah, I see.
So, so hold on. Is this the right picture?
Oh,
That's not the
okay.
right. No, that's not the right picture. Hold on. So, what the picture we're talking about is this picture here, and yeah, brother. Yeah, I had it. Um, that one right here
Yeah.
is the one I'm speaking about. Normally, his face, and the copy I had, his face was about here, and his hand was over his mouth. So,
Talking about.
yeah,
I don't know if y'all
yeah,
can see that or not. Like that. No.
yeah, uh-huh,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, great observation, man. Signs and symbols, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Let me go back to this article here. Come on, let's dive into this article. Somebody, let's get into reading this. Prince faces pistol charge. Moroccan major says he didn't know of arms ban in Toledo. Gavrona Ali Mustafa Abdullah admittedly a Moroccan prince and an organizer for the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, who shouldered a rifle in the Rift Wars, was held in the safety building Thursday for carrying a pistol. I am the son of King Hussein, who was exiled on the islands of what is that, Cyprus,
Cyprus
back
in
in
1927.
1958.
Mm,
He
mm.
informed newspaper reporters, and I hold the rank of major in the Rif Army. I pray to Allah that I'll get out of this trouble. I didn't know it was considered wrong to go armed in Toledo. Abdullah, who speaks 5 languages, currently will
Oh,
be examined by the
Right.
I get to
Grand
say
jury.
the grand jury. Go ahead, keep reading, brother. By the grand jury,
McLean Bay,
McLean. Oh,
looks
Right.
like 22 Nebraska Avenue, arraigned with him before Judge Donovan in police court was fined $25 and costs for disturbance.
Mm.
that is crazy.
So
So this is the son of Sharif Hussein bin Abdullah, who we just was talking about was taken out of power in the Battle of Mecca in 1924. He was exiled to Syria, like he said, in 1927, the same year that our Quran came out. But and if you read through um, the Sharif's papers, he speaks about his son named Prince Ali, which has to be this guy here.
mm.
Allah knows best, but we
and,
know he had something to do with organizing the Moorish Holy Temple of Science.
and it's interesting that you can tell this is more authentic than the most because it's using the original name
Right,
versus
right,
using
Yeah.
what we would know, today. So
right.
Mm.
so that's deep. I wonder how deep this relationship went, you know,
Right,
with the prophet and with the king at that time, or
right.
with his son. If his son was, here, representing, being a representative.
Well, um, I'll say this. Brother Sharif Ani Al Bey has some very striking info in regards to these particular areas. So I think what I will do, I'll reach out to him and see if you can come and do a follow-up show to this particular topic. And
Yeah, because
they
it's too much information to pack in a couple hours, bro.
oh
To be
yes,
honest,
sir. Most definitely. It's a
because
whole lot.
we're dealing with what was going on there and here at the same time.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And man, hey, look, I would, if I was, in our area and what we're taught to do, we're taught to be um well educated on all procedures. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely,
So, I don't want to speak on anything prematurely or anything that they may not have concrete, knowledge upon, but there are a lot of connections, this is pointing to the connection of the Moorish
right.
Science Temple of America and the Rift Army. So, and I think if we, I'm gonna leave it there. All right, keep going, brother.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a very deep subject when we deal
Yes,
with
sir.
um, like I said what was going on here with the Prophet of Ali and what was going on in Mecca at that time. Because Mecca in the 7 years between 1924 and 1930, Mecca and Medina went under a strange change.
Mm,
Um, and I think that's because of the Wahhabism influence.
Mhm.
Like I said, they made something separate. They made something separate. As you see, like when I make my posts and I say five prayers is not in the Quran, Allahu Akbar is not in the Quran. All these things that are not in the Quran that they've been taught to follow and taught to do.
mm.
You know what
Whoa,
I
whoa,
mean?
whoa, ho. Wait a minute. Wait.
You
Oh,
done said something.
you done said something. Wait a minute.
I
Now
mean, but
talk
Drew
about
Ali told us that it's shot through with hocus pocus. They only had a
you
resemblance
know
of the truth. So
right,
you know
right,
we got to
right.
get
Hey, we got to talk about
Yeah,
it. We got to
yeah.
talk about it. So you saying, and this is something that in the Moorish Science Temple of America, you know what I'm saying? We have this dialogue all the time, but we can. It's good that we bring this dialogue. So five prayers is not in the Quran.
no. No, it's only three, just like the Hebrews. It's only three. Um,
So where did this five thing come from?
and it came from Hadith. You know, people. There's a Hadith where they say that the prophet was in a dream and he rode a mule to Jerusalem, and he ascended into heaven, and he went back and forth with Allah. At first, the salats was 50, and he went back and forth until it was reduced down to five prayers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's where they get the concept of there being five prayers. You
Mm.
know, it's not.
Mm.
I mean, you look in the Quran. Like I said, listen. Drew Ali gave us the Quran. He never mentioned Sahih Bukhari. He never mentioned the Sahih Muslim. He never mentioned any of those outside sources to us.
Right. I must say he didn't.
He never mentioned. He gave us, like I said, Allah. He gave us Quran. He gave us Muhammad. He gave us Ali. Okay. He
Mm.
didn't give us no type of You know what I mean? Like I said, what they're trained to follow today, the Prophet didn't give to us,
Mm. Mm.
and that's a big difference. That's a big difference. You know what I mean? Um, in the Quran, the Holy Quran of Mecca, it says that you only follow what is revealed, what is inspired to you, O Muhammad. Only follow what is inspired to you, and that's that Quran. That's what was
Mm.
inspired. That's what was inspired to him. But none of that other stuff that they doing today. Like I said, Allahu Akbar is not in the Quran. Muhammad didn't say that. Akbar is related to other things that's created. Kabir is
The
what
remembrance of Allah is the greatest.
that's what's Akbar. Allah's attribute is Al Kabir. That is the greatest. See what I mean? Al Kabir.
Allah Akbar.
Right. Allahu Al Kabir. Allahu Al Kabir. You know what
Allah
I mean?
yeah.
But people have been conditioned to say Allahu Akbar. They've been conditioned to, you know what I mean? Make wudu and wash everything three times. They've been conditioned to five
So
salats. They've been
whoa,
conditioned.
whoa, 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 whoa. We got it. Whoa. You mean to tell me the voodoo too?
Yeah, yeah. Now in
Man,
the Quran, listen, in the
talk to me.
Quran, in Surah 5, verse 6, I wish you could screenshot that. But it says, when you come to prayer, wash your hands and your faces and your arms to the elbows. And then it says, wipe your heads and your feet. Wipe your heads and your feet.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm gonna pull that. Hold on. Keep talking. Hold on. Hold on. Let me do let me get this right. Surah what?
Right. When you come to prayer,
Surah what?
wash your
Which
Surah number 5, verse
uh-huh.
6.
Verse 6. I'm trying to get this right for us. Right quick. So I can oh yeah. Okay. 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 We got it like this. Let me see if I can get it over to us right quick.
And it says when you come to prayer, wash your hands, your faces, your arms to the elbows, and wipe. It specifically says and wipe over your heads and your feet.
Mm,
Now it's
mm.
it's the it's the hadith that says do this three times, do that three times. So much so that you have brothers putting their feet in the sink.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a face bowl.
Oh man. Yeah, what you said they doing, brother man?
They putting their feet in the sink.
Putting their feet in the sink, man. Washing the
He
whole
said they
foot,
putting their
man.
feet in the sink.
But that just show you, man, that these people, man, they created
Bruh.
something different.
I,
They created something different, and they got the people following it.
oh man. Oh, hold on, brother. This is why let's go right here, man. The brother say he got brother put his whole feet in the fishbowl. Let's see.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
oh you have believed. When you rise to perform prayer, wash your faces, your forearms to the elbow, wipe over your head, wash your feet to the ankles. Oh, see how they get in
yeah.
translation?
See, they messed the
See how
translation
they
up
get?
right there. It
Mm-hmm.
says rub. It says rub your head and your feet. If you look at another translation, it'll say that, and it have wash in the parentheses. Is that how that one
Mm-hmm.
is?
Nah, they didn't put wash in the parentheses.
Yeah.
It says wipe over your head and wash your feet to the ankles. Hold up.
No, it's supposed to be just rub.
Yeah.
Rub your head, rub your heads and your feet. But that's what's known as a fard voodoo, the obligated voodoo.
Mm-hmm.
Now they made
Mm-hmm.
up something and said the sunnah voodoo is to do
Yeah,
this
my
three
shit.
times, do that three times, breathe water in your nose, all that. Stick your fingers in your ears and all that. All that came from hadith. That's not what's in the Quran. See, that's why I say Drew Ali gave us the Quran. He didn't give us all that other stuff.
mm.
And
You
all
feel
that, like I said, the customs that they have today, standing in line with making prayers together and all of that, that wasn't a custom of Muhammad.
whoa.
Hmm.
Hold up.
So what was the
Oh,
custom?
up.
Wow.
Whoa. You you said what?
Yeah, the motion, the way that they have to make salat today come from the hadith. It comes directly from the hadith. It's not what was revealed. If you look at a lot of the verses in the Quran when it deals with prayer, it says that they're standing. Um, Zechariah was standing in his prayer place when the angel came to him. Ibrahim got the Makami Ibrahim in Mecca, the place of standing. And Surah Juma, when the prayer was over with, and they left Muhammad standing, and they joined. When see what I mean? All bowing and prostrating are different forms of worship. It's not all inclusive where you stand and then bow and then prostrate and then get up and two rakats, three rakats here and four rakats. Oh, that's later. All that's later.
Mm,
Just like the five prayers, all that came later. That Drew Ali
mm.
gave us the truth, man. Drew Ali gave us the truth.
So now
Standing at 45 degrees on with the 7 Up, he gave us the truth.
listen, so do you know what that's saying? Because now, we got the with the Tabi'in and Tabi'un, like, what about that? I mean, wow.
Break that down for me, Mo. What you just said.
Huh?
Break that down. What you just said.
Well, those who walked with Prophet Muhammad and then those who followed those who walked with the Prophet Muhammad. So, and this is where we're said to get these particular hadiths, which are oral, basically oral sayings of those who walk with him or those who walk with those who walked with him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Wow. So what our brother's telling us is that Juma didn't look the way it looked, prayer didn't
Exactly.
look the way it looked.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, so if we are to say this, what did it look like then?
It looked like peaceful meditation. It looked like brothers and sisters giving praises to Allah. It didn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be a mechanical, robotic, systematic program. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just like in I mean, like I said, and when you read in the Quran, there's some verses where it says that um when you stand for your prayers, uh and put down your arms, let another party of you stand back and guard until they finish out, and then they come in. You know what I mean? So, and Allah also says, standing, sitting, or laying on your sides to call upon them.
Hmm.
You know, and if you fear an enemy may attack you, to shorten your prayer. You know, so there are many different things, man, that 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 points to the simplicity of the prayer rather than the forms that men seek to come to Allah through.
Mm. That's a
You get what
great
I'm
jewel.
saying?
That was a good jewel right there, beloved.
Hmm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I made you deviate because I had to dig in and you was making some statements there, brother. You know what I'm saying? We got to clarify them. You know what I'm saying? We got to clarify these statements so ones
Yeah,
can't take, misconstrue your words. You know what I'm saying? So one's gonna
yeah.
understand exactly what you're saying. Now let's get back to the Battle of Mecca in 1924, right?
Hmm.
So now we're at this point where we have um um Ben Ali, right?
Hmm.
And we have the Wahhabi family, right? Now the Wahhabis, right? I have heard that they were basically tools of British intelligence. Could you talk to me about that?
Pardon. Yeah, but when you look at well, Abdul Aziz Ibn Sa'd. Now let's take it back to Muhammad Ibn Abdul Wahhab.
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad Ibn Abdul Wahhab, who Wahhabism is named after. He he was famous and basically put into his religious position by the original Ibn Sa'd, the Abdul Aziz Ibn Sa'd's father,
Mm.
and that was in the 1800s. This is the connection between Wahhabism and the Saudi family.
Okay.
Okay, now Wahhabis, think about it. In the first Battle of Mecca in 1914, when Hussein bin Ali defeated the Ottomans, and Ibn Saud acted like he was on Hussein bin Ali's team,
Mm-hmm.
and according to Sharif Ali's papers um, that I sent you in the PDF, but according to his own papers, um, Ibn Saud was well. First, the British uh, promised him one global state from basically Turkey to Yemen. And after he defeated the Ottomans and the people weren't satisfied with his rule, then they got in a Ibn Saud's ear, which Ibn Saud wanted power of Mecca anyway. So you're looking at, because Wahhab wasn't alive in 24. Wahhabism, which was the way of Ibn Saud, that was what was alive in 1924. And like I said, that's a colonized religion. Wahhabism, like Sharif Hussein said in his papers, Wahhabism, a part of their creed is to announce takfir on other Muslims. And takfir is when you declare somebody to be a kafir. That's the root of the word, takfir. Takfir.
A kafir, takfir.
Right. Takfir. Takfir.
That's calling someone a non-believer.
Right. Right. And that was popular by them. If you didn't agree with them, then they'll call you a non-believer, and they'll even, kill you. You know.
Which is the root of all this Islamic extremism.
That's exactly the root of all of it, and that's the reason why a lot of the Muslims, I ain't gonna say the Muslims, but the Muslims, they might be the type of people that if you say the wrong thing, they might try to cut your head off. See what I mean? Because it's the most extremist, you know. But that's dangerous too at the same time.
Oh yeah, very dangerous.
Oh, that's very dangerous. Very dangerous, bro.
Very dangerous.
Because that would do exactly what we're taught not to do, is to cause discord in the harmonies of life.
Right.
To be extreme is just that. To cause discord in the harmonies of life, because to be extreme in the either or direction would be set an imbalance to the harmonies of life. So yeah,
definitely.
I can
definitely agree. And that's the same way that we used to view bloodshed. To spill a drop of blood. You know what I mean? That was considered sacred. We try to avoid that at all costs.
Man. So basically, oh man. So basically, what this Battle of Mecca 1924 allowed or facilitated was a whole narrative change.
Yeah, because see, I look at the connection between Hussein bin Ali's son and the Moorish Holy Temple of Science and the Prophet. I look at that, man, and like the brother said, there has to be a stronger connection there, something deeper than the surface, because that was we Drew Ali kept us with the old time religion, and he told us to think not with Arabia. You know what I mean? And he even touched on the rest of that verse, on their philosophy about the soul. See what I mean? And like I said, when you go to the religious controversy article, he even speaks more on that. And when you go to the article about the Circle 7 Quran, the religious masterpiece.
Yes, secrets of our creeds revealed.
Yeah.
Our creeds revealed, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You look at all this stuff being produced by the Prophet while Mecca was pretty much open market. Because between 24 and 32, there was no ruler. It was just Abdul Aziz ibn Saud claiming that he was the ruler. See what I mean? So while Mecca was in turmoil and had no type of leadership or organization, Drew Ali established and I believe that the Moorish Holy Temple of Science affidavit was established in like 26.
Mm.
See what I mean? Then we get the Circle Seven in 27, and then we get the religious affidavit in 28. So all them years while Saudi Arabia was down, the Prophet was up. We talking about 15 temples in like 10, 11 different states. International business. I mean, interstate business, and maybe international with Prince Ali on the team, Moroccan Prince. He government official.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So
Mm.
So
it's worth the examination. Like I said, yeah, we
No,
do need
brother.
to get we do need to
Look,
get
look,
Sharif and El Bay in here too on this
so
and
conversation.
look, bro. Um, you're touching on a lot of things that I've been privy to observe information that I was allowed to observe, but at the same time, without vetting it and saying that I've taken it through due process and can say it is what it is, I can't necessarily speak on it because it's not responsible. You know what I'm saying? However, what I can say is that I've seen information that connects, business, that shows a connection and relationship between members of the Moorish Science Temple of America and possibly that particular Rebel army. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, yeah. That shows that connection, man. Like I said, it's something deeper than that, man.
It is.
You
It is.
know.
And what I'll do is, and I'm pretty sure Sharif, if he's not even, possibly peeping this out, I'm pretty sure he'll come back and look at it because he does view all of the shows. Um, I'm pretty sure he'll come back and he'll I'm gonna link y'all two together, brother, so y'all can have this conversation and maybe y'all can come back and do an entire, do another presentation where we start to unfold these things. You know what I'm saying?
that's
You know,
Yeah, yeah,
that would be a beautiful thing to do. That would be a beautiful thing to do. So listen, here we go. So basically, what you just told us on this channel is that majority of the things that are people that have been pushed as Islam, right, or the tenets or the principles or whatever, etc. All of this has been a fabrication of Wahhabi.
yes, yes. They made a completely separate belief system, but yet still called it Islam, and that was done through basically hadith worship, man. It's basically done through hadith, programming people with hadith instead of the Quran.
You know how bold of a statement that is.
I'm surprised they ain't knocking on the brother door right now. You know what I mean?
But
God.
listen, but listen though, in Surah Mursalat, the surah that we went over before, it ends with that question: what hadith after this will they believe in? Now,
Mm,
why people got to say, well, I believe in Sahih Bukhari, I believe in Sahih Muslim, I believe in Sahih this, and Abu Dawood. Why would you need to believe in that other stuff with Allah's book? If we had a
mm,
revealed word of Allah, why do you need another man's interpretation of that?
mm,
You shouldn't. That's putting a partner with him. That's saying that you need him to understand him.
mm.
You see what I mean? That's the
Yeah.
essence of what they call shirk and polytheism.
Whoa. Whoa. Hey man.
something like a mirror image, like the prophet said, like someone hold a mirror up to the sun and deflect some of his rays in another direction. They deflected them rays. Like I said, man, Saudi Arabia is the U.S. #1 ally, so naturally they're going to have the dominant say over Islamic articles, things being spread about Islam over here in America. You know what I mean? To
You
influence.
know they got that oil money, man.
That was
You know.
that was that was one of the major sellouts, man, to the Muslim Ummah. Not just they sold us out when they assassinated the Prophet. They sold us out. But
Mm.
the last sellout was the 1971 U.S. dollars for oil deal that Saudi Arabia in 1971. Now the United States was just coming off of the Vietnam War and they was broke. And
Go back on the stand.
Saudi Arabia made the dollar the #1 currency in the world ever since then.
They refuse to go back on the gold standard.
Yep, and it all was oil dollars, petrol dollar, and
Good
it's been that
God
way
Almighty.
since. But nobody want to talk on that.
Nobody
See, I
will
mean,
never talk about that. Nobody
listen,
will
the
never
Saudis,
talk about that.
listen, yeah, the Saudis sold the people out 3 different times, and that was one of the major ones right there.
They never talk about that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hey, bro,
Or how the British got
you
there
ain't
too.
even with it. Man, this brother ain't even went in a whole hour. And you,
Yeah, they won't tell people too that it was a fight between Britain too to get to that oil to go off steam. That was in a race against time
Oh
to get
yeah.
oil after the well, it really started after World War II. Once uh
Nah, I started in 1908.
no, I'm talking about the far as the oil thing,
Yep,
far as
yep,
with Great
yep.
Britain going to get
Listen,
oil.
listen. Well, they discovered oil in Iraq in 1908,
Uh huh.
and every world war since then been over who gonna control that
Hmm.
because it's too much. They can supply the whole world with oil,
Yep.
and they know that, and they got natural gases, and they got some type of electricity type of program that they. Man, come on, man. These people dealing with energy.
Whole lot.
That's why 1924 is so pivotal because they stepped in and they changed the game. You know what I mean? They pretty much did a sack on Mecca and kicked the Hashemite family. The Hashemite family is Muhammad's family, Banu Hashim. Like I said they had an unbreaking succession, like I said, from 1201 all the way to 1924. You know what I mean? This is the supposed to be the direct family, the direct descendants of Muhammad, the first.
So key 7 to 45 stand correct there.
Correct.
And chapter 45.
speak the key to it.
Oh, my apologies.
Chapter
Chapter
45.
45, the divine origin of the Asiatic nation. It says key 7. The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief
Boom.
protectors of the Islamic creed of Mecca, beginning with beginning from Muhammad the first, the founders of the United of Islam, by the command of the great universal God Allah.
Yeah, correct. Correct.
Mm. Mm. That's really interesting.
And that was a critical time because our prophet had boots on the ground in those years.
Facts.
He was making things happen. Like I said, to have that many business enterprise interstate from and he said every temple have a laundromat, so they at least got one or two businesses going, if not more than that. There's no
Hmm.
telling how big we were before we was dismantled.
Oh,
And
agree.
something happened. Something happened to dismantle us, man. It was a planned thing, and Allah knows best.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They had a lot of Muslim espionage groups back in those days too. That was like spies and stuff for the CIA.
Oh, of course. Of course. Of course. Do you know they could make that connection happen? Because a lot of people forget that the old world didn't look like what it looked like today. The old world looked
Right,
more like you and me.
right, right.
So just imagine if they made that connection strong from there to here. You know, the list goes on. The list goes on.
Yeah,
So with the war, so with the Battle of Mecca, you said 1916.
that was the first one.
So what was the point of them wanting to take out the Ottoman Empire at that time? What was going on in 1916 where the Ottoman Empire had you know such of a stronghold as we would say?
Well, the people of Mecca and Medina didn't want the Ottoman to rule those cities. They wanted it to be under the family of Muhammad. So they actually voted Hussein bin Ali into place because they didn't fall until about 1919.
Yeah, yeah.
The Ottomans didn't fall until about 1919, but they delegated him to be the Sharif of Mecca in 1916, all the way up until 1924, the Battle of Mecca.
Okay, okay. So they pretty much was at odds with each other at that point.
Right,
Families
and
was at
we look at our prophet's boots at that time on the ground from 16 to 24 before because he was doing his thing in New Jersey and wherever else before he got to Chicago. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So and you look at, like I said, the connection between Hussein bin Ali's son and the Moorish Holy Temple of Science.
Yeah, I just tried to look that brother up. Ain't nothing on him.
Yeah, Prince Ali, son of
Mm-hmm.
Hussein bin Sharif Hussein bin Ali.
Yeah, yeah. If I put that brother name, man, the Mustafa brother.
Yeah, Gavarona ain't the name. That's like a title. The name
Ah,
is the name is Ali Mustafa Abdullah, but he's a son of King Hussein.
okay. Now, is
But
that?
yeah,
Pardon me to cut your wisdom. Now, is that the same descendant of the Hussein from past days too, or no?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, so
yeah. That's what I'm saying. They supposed to be direct line.
so pretty much not to just to keep it in a coded language. So pretty much this was just another like a third wave from past days. If you get where I'm pulling from.
Yeah, I don't know. My you cut off.
Oh my bad. I was saying so pretty much what just happened in the past days was just the third wave to push him out. I hope it didn't freeze.
To this day.
Say it again for me, Mo. Your junk had froze.
I said, yep, and they pretty much been ruling ever since then to this
Okay.
day.
Okay. Because now it makes sense now. Because I because I
And we
watched the whole
and we
video
can look
of
at
him saying,
Hold on. Wait a minute. Slow down. I don't even mean to interrupt the dialogue, but I see something.
touch
I
it,
have
bro.
some the wealth of nations. Peace. It says, brothers, when will Muslims give respect to the people of the book? Let's go ahead and define that wealth of nations. Matter of fact, what we'll do, since you asked such a great question, you know, and we can address this. Let's go ahead and pull you up on the screen. Are you available to get on the screen? Because we're willing to take this dialogue right quick before we end this podcast. Because that gotta stop. What do you mean? Clarify your statement. People of the book, clarify your statement. We're gonna give him a minute to clarify his statement. We keep going. Yeah. We with that tonight. We
Yeah.
with that tonight. We with that tonight. Yes, sir. We with that tonight.
Sure, that the people of the book.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The people of the book. See, what we have to do now, since we want to talk about people, another word for people is nations. Nations of the book. So let's start talking about that. Since you want to bring it up.
Mm.
was there somebody in the comments?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about it.
Mm.
Because see, we have these type of conversations pop up, right? To what there are instruments to exclude me and you for having a say so or a word in the equation as if we're not a people of the book. So let's talk about it. I'm sick of it, brother. Let's talk about it. We can't leave it at humanity.
Mm.
So we want it. Let's go. Come on. Where are you? That's a terrible.
Echo. Yeah, I hear it too.
Yeah, I hear it too. My brother probably have to turn his demo down a little bit. His speaker. Yeah.
I don't think
I'm
what
not. I'm not. No longer, brother. Now I keep the peace. One thing about me is that I'm one of the most. I strive to be one of the most diplomatic brothers, right? But it comes a time when certain things have to be addressed. They have to be addressed. So I'm waiting.
Yeah, I feel you, Mo. I definitely feel you.
Okay, there you go. We got the comment. Okay, when there will always be conflict so long as the Muslims do not respect their brothers of the book. Okay. All right. So I have to ask you again. You did not clarify my question. I thank you for your response. But what do you mean by that? Define people of the book. Define that. We got three brothers right here online waiting for this. Define people of the book. Because we know with this English language, people love to talk. what to talk. So clarify that. Thank you. The dismantling of caliphate was of
Yep.
its own doing. Caliphate were wider from slavery from Eastern Europe. Oh, okay. Now I understand. Okay, okay. That was you clarified. I thank you. I thank you. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, because and I want to clarify myself and why I took that stance is because when people see brothers from America that look like me and these brothers, and we speak in such an authoritative way, one seems to want to exclude us from the conversation as if we have no right to speak on it. But I'm here to say that you're looking at people of the book,
Mm-hmm.
all the books.
Every last one of them.
For sure.
You're not looking at some degenerate human beings that just so happen to be on the Western Hemisphere of the world. No, 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 no. We're gonna mash that all today. We're gonna mash that all today. When you see those people in that book, when you read about those people in that book, you look me in my face, you're talking about me. So don't ever, in your attempt to attempt to exclude us, we have just as much authority to speak on these topics and subjects as any other person in the world,
Yeah, most definitely. So,
possibly more. So we're
definitely
going to
more.
end that conversation because I'm getting tired of getting rubbed like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And if anybody want to have this conversation with me about the people of the book, call me. Set it up. We're going to end that conversation. I'm done with that one. People of the book. Are you sure you want to have that conversation?
Yeah.
And I don't never speak authoritative in this matter because I'm always about diplomacy. But what I will not do, this platform, is to allow anybody and speak as if though the Asiatics of North America are not the people. If that's in your mind, you come contend with me and I'll contend with you. That's my last words on it. That rubbed me the wrong way, but I did not like and I don't even think the statement comes not only some people actually say in a sincere manner, and then some people don't. So I just had to take the opportunity to address the question in case anybody else had perspective and want to bring that mind ignorant, not to come so much as late perspective narrative to this equation. I'm not for it. I'm not for it.
One definition. I don't even know what that means.
Islam. So, Christians and Jews. Let me tell you something. The Bible is not a Christian nor Jewish book. Let's stop with that.
Mhm.
The Bible, the Torah, the Injil, neither one of those, the Christians nor Jews have a monopoly over it. And if we're talking about Christians and Jews, how do we involve nations of people with that? Who were the Christians and who were the Jews?
Mo, your joint
Okay,
being distorted.
we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna leave that one right there. Islam Moors, I appreciate Islam Muslims. Hey man, uh, are you here to speak? I mean, hey brother, I mean, hey, I'll post the link. I'll post
Yeah.
the link.
Hey, brother, Eric, you got like another phone or something open?
Do I got a phone open?
Like something
Yeah,
else
yeah,
is
like
open? Because
a
this joint has been heavily distorted.
Man, probably because I got the video on. Is it still distorted?
Nah, it's not distorted now. Well, a little bit, but I don't think it's probably was the video. What about on your end, sheet?
I don't know. What is it? Let me see. Y'all keep speaking after I do this.
Is this that joint still distorted a little bit?
Yeah, I muted my mic.
I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
what
coming
that
from
is.
somebody speaking. I mean, I apologize if what I said what couldn't be heard. Um, I went on my spiel. You know, um, oh, Wealth of Nations. I don't want you to think that I took your state. I did initially. Let's be honest. I did initially. I didn't know where you were going with the statement, but I understood later. But I continue to build on that statement because so many people come into dialogues with so-called black people or so-called Negroes or so-called African Americans, and when we have these dialogues about the book and these conversations and these comments come up about people of the book, it's tended people have the narrative to try to push us out of the way as if we have nothing to do with the conversation and we have no right to speak about it. But I'm here to say that we have every right to speak about it, and possibly even more right than a lot of people. That's what I'm here to say. So I saw your reply to the comment, and 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 I understand what you were saying. I understand what you were saying. But it's 10:22. We've been on about 2 hours. Um, let's do this. What I will do, Wealth of the Nation, since you wanna chat. Would y'all like to speak to the brother? Anybody? Y'all would like to speak to the brother? Or whomever is on the other end of that demonstration? Would y'all like to speak with him?
Yeah, okay.
All right, no problem.
It's not like good dialogue, you know.
It's nothing like good dialogue.
I just see what their perspective is, you know.
Yeah, let's see what it is. Okay, let me see. Paste.
My brother got the beads though. Jeez. Pull them up, brother.
Huh?
Pull them
Oh,
up, brother.
these. Oh,
Oh, the brother.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice
See,
though, brother.
yeah, yeah. That's a good thing. Yeah, it look real nice over there, don't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, let
that
me
job
get
look
right here.
nice though, brother.
Here we go. The Wealth of Nations. You have we have the link right there.
That's interesting that they brought that up because I've been doing a deep dive on this for the last like 2 weeks. We've been talking. It's just revelation at this point.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
I've been
most
doing a
definitely.
deep dive. I said, "Ooh, this thing deeper than what people really want to talk about." But
Mm, yeah. Well, I do have something to do, beloved brothers, and I appreciate the dialogue. I hate, when when I get like that, I be like, oh man, so I don't know what's going on. Don't know what's going on. But anyway, man, um, brother Eric, brother Johnson, L, we appreciate the dialogue, brother.
Most
Um,
definitely, man. Honest to everybody on the call and everybody in the
and
chat.
bro, you know what though?
Whoever liked to share it, that's gonna have to be another one because it's too much information. It's too much going on in that time frame.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
a lot was going on at the time frame.
And we gotta remember that the prophet said that they try in every scheme to undermine and overthrow and drag out this situation of ours.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this right here. I ain't
Yeah, yeah.
not having it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not having it. But what we will do is
But these people have invested heavily since 1930 to make sure that they buried Drew Ali, and we never knew who he was.
Wealth of a Nation. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my email, Wealth of a Nation. I'm gonna put my email in the chat. I did put the link in there, but I'm gonna put my email in the chat. And what we'll do is I want you to email me and I will set up a show for you to come on and we can have a dialogue and put you on the show where you can have an opportunity to speak for yourself. How about that? I think that sounds fair. What y'all think?
Yeah, I like that.
I think
Definitely.
so. So allow me to do this right quick. Um, yeah, boy, I hear you in there breathing, brother.
Oh man, it's
You
been an
in there breathing.
interesting day. And then that's that
Oh
storm.
yeah,
I don't know if
most
y'all
definitely.
caught that storm this morning, but man, that storm this morning came through and woke me
Nah, I
all
ain't
the
catch
way
the
up, man.
storm, beloved.
Oh yeah, it
Nah, that
came through
wasn't.
like 4 o'clock this morning. I'm talking about knocked a couple trees down and everything.
Hey,
Yeah,
man,
yeah, man. Knocked a couple trees down and
I can
everything.
get this comment here because it seems like it's freezing up. I've been having technical difficulties over here.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
here
like
we
it's
go.
freezing.
Here we go. All right, I'm finna put this email in here. Um, Wealth of a Nation, please contact me via email or I'm finna type in my Facebook handle, or you can contact me via Facebook if you have that avenue. I will put my number in here, but not gonna do it. But I would love to get you on here and give you an opportunity to speak. Cause I appreciate your comment and etc. So brothers, we any closing remarks, brother Eric?
You're John muted, bro.
You're joint muted, beloved.
Peace. Well, just be yourselves, man. Be yourselves, and let's think, because it's a whole lot that's still being uncovered, and
Islam.
this is just the top of the rabbit hole.
Hold up. It's like we got
With
Wealth
that,
of a
I'm gonna say
Nation coming
peace.
in right now.
It's gonna bring wealth of the
Let me
nations
see if we
on.
can put. Yeah, I'm gonna pull him up right quick because he hit the link. What I'll do is give him an opportunity, a couple minutes to speak. I don't, brother, Wealth of a Nation. I don't have many. because I do have something else to do. But I'll give you a few minutes, and then we have to close out. Peace. That's good. Yes, sir. Peace. Peace.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
So how are you? Yes, sir. How are you? Hey,
I'm
mute
well,
up
thank
for a
you.
second, brother Eric Johnson. I think we still got an echo going on. Okay, we can hear you now.
Thank you. First, I just want to say thank you for letting me on. I think there was a delay between the messaging and when it would come to you, but am I coming through clearly?
Yes.
Yes, sir. You come through great. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
My only comments on, I'm just grateful to be able to be involved in the conversation because sometimes online it's very one-sided. So I saw your link and I thought you were talking about an interesting thing with the Battle of Mecca. So I don't want to derail that at all, but I just kind of threw out some questions that I had. And one thing and one idea of mine that I think is very important in terms of Islamic, Christian, and Jewish relationships is I think there isn't always respect shown for the people of the book, and that's how they are referred to in the Quran. And I'm referring to Jews and Christians. Now, I, on one hand, see a brotherhood and a brotherhood of those who believe in God. We are cousins in faith. That's how I see it. But I don't think the respect is there. And I'm coming from a different part of the world as well. I'm in Australia. So, I think, the experience that we are having here, the experience in America is going to be different. But
of course.
the Israel-Gaza Palestine conflict at the moment is very front and center in our politics in Australia. It's very front and center in the minds of Muslims who are living here. Now, I've attempted to engage with some Muslims on this topic, and the consensus that I've gathered is Israel evil, Hamas is good, or justified in their warfare because they are the oppressed people. And I mean, I'm not sure how we can get to this point that I think is the ideal, which is understanding that Jews, Christians, and Muslims, we have a shared history, some of it bloody, but there are also periods of peace. And I'm not sure if it's the same in America, but I see a lot of hostility. I work with some Muslim men, and I had to tell one one day because he was referring to others as the infidel, kufar. And I told him, you will never win that person over to Islam or to God or to Allah if you refer to him in such a disdainful way.
Definitely, we were just talking about that. Those that call everybody kafirs, those are your biggest hypocrites today.
Yeah,
but that's what Wahhabism instilled. That's what Wahhabism. That was their creed. That's what Sharif bin Hussein bin Ali. That's what he wrote in his papers about Wahhabism. That was their thing, was to pronounce takfir on anybody who opposed what they were doing. And to pronounce takfir is mean to say you're a kafir, you're apostate, you're apostate. And according to them, Wahhabis, if you're apostate, you die. That's their rules. That's not the Quran, but that's their rules.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? They created the Saudi Wahhabi relation created a separate Islam that looks like Islam.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the conflict between Jews and Christians and Muslims, because Allah says in the Quran that this is the religion of Abraham. That's what unites all of us.
Yes.
This is the religion of Abraham.
And then also, and I like to bring these brothers in Australia. So, but I'm pretty sure, being that we have dialogue, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the Moorish rule of Spain, right?
I'm familiar with the Moorish rule, yes.
Okay, if you're familiar with the Moorish rule in Spain, you do understand that Islam ruled Spain for over 800 years, right?
Yes, I'm aware of that. Also,
And
Hungary.
and we had the most peaceful times between Christians and Jews ever recorded in Spain, amongst Muslims, Christians, and Jews. So now, when we get to that understanding that we understand that history to be true, now we have to take ourselves, we have to use our minds and look at what's going on today and say, ask ourselves, is that a reflection of what it really is?
Well, I
Because
think that's I think that's an example of what is possible with this view of brotherhood. But I also have difficulties because everyone was engaged in conquest and conquering, and then
mm,
Muslims conquered Spain with violence, and then
oh, yeah,
more
yeah,
and
I get
then Spain was recaptured with violence, and I think there is peace possible, but you have to recognize that when a country is taken over by a Muslim country, there are different standards and there are different rules. And if you're a Christian, you have to pay a tax. And I don't, yeah, I mean, if that, I'm
it.
not sure exactly the ins and outs of the daily life, but the beginning was not a peaceful beginning, and the
Well, allow me
conquest was conquest.
allow me to ask this question.
Sure.
Can we, okay, now, and I would like to pinpoint on the Moorish conquest or conquering of Spain. Now, let's look into that history. Now, when we get into that history, you have uh, a people coming across the coming into the Iberian Peninsula. The state of the Iberian Peninsula at that time was so grotesque, and history even speaks of it in this very exact way, that it was so grotesque that those people could have possibly, without the Moorish intervention into their affairs, these people could not even be here today because of the horrid conditions it was in. Now, in history, we have heard people say, "Oh, when they came, when people came into Spain after our entrance, oh, they came in and we left bodies everywhere." But we got to realize the people that we came into contact with didn't even know how to bury the dead. They didn't even have that knowledge. So bodies were laying around. So now when we have bodies just laying around, we can, I guess we just count that up as casualties of war. No, no. Our intervention into the affairs of Europe at that point in time advanced civilization in that area. Also, the fall of the Moors in Spain. Once we fell, it was said to set the human advancement back hundreds of years. So I understand that we can get to a point where we don't understand how things work, right? We look at it like, oh, so this happened, that happened. The point of the matter is, we can look at all of the strife, but what comes out of the strife? Out of darkness, out of death comes life. Out of strife comes success. And with every success, what do we have? We have added strength. So I'm not looking at it from a standpoint of, you know, conquest. What was necessary for human development and human advancement in that area?
Yeah,
That's the question.
I would have to examine
And it's not
closely the state of
an
the.
Islamic thing either.
Well, I'd have to examine closely the experience of those who are from Spain at the time. But
Mm-hmm.
this seems to be a common thing. For example, my understanding, and I think the general understanding, is that when Muhammad came in Mecca, they were just pagans, and that seems to be the justification for the advancement in conquering and warfare that was engaged in, because so and so is a pagan, and the same again. You're saying the Moors conquered Spain. The Spaniards were backwards, or they weren't aware of how to bury their dead, so therefore they were conquered conquered on those grounds. And I don't buy it. I don't
I
buy it,
mean, I
and
mean,
here's why.
and you know what? I
I
respect you
don't.
for not buying it. I understand. Understand that. I do respect you for not buying it, but we're not talking about just the bury the thing, dead thing. That was just one thing I spoke on. We can speak on a plethora of things, and I'm not saying that's a reason for anyone to subjugate another people. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. But since we want to get on the subject of subjugation, the people that you're looking at on this screen right here, 1, 2, 3. When we go to the subject of subjugation and slavery, you are looking at the people who survived the worst form of it all. We were the only people who came out of the form of subjugation dead. No identity, no language, no faith, none of these particular things. So if we want to talk about subjugation, we can talk about it. If we're going to turn this into a subjugation conversation, we
Yeah,
can
and
talk about it.
we can.
But
Yeah,
but
and
that's
I'm happy.
not. Go ahead.
I'm happy to have I'm happy to have that conversation. And I think we're just talking about different periods in time. And obviously there was no kind of happiness or goodwill on the part of those who were conquered, because they came back later and reconquered. They had the Reconquista.
Mm.
And that suggests to me that there wasn't just it's all happy in El Andalus, because they wanted the land back and they wanted the country back. And um, yeah, and I think the terms on which, when you are subjugated by a Muslim empire, is that you have an unequal treatment of members of society. Christians have to pay the jizya tax. Jews have to pay the jizya tax, as one example. So you inherently, right off the bat, have some inequality or unequal treatment based on religious grounds. And that's been the case for a long time. And what I don't hear people saying, and
Yes,
what I want
yeah,
to
you're right.
what I
You're
want
right.
to explore what I want to explore more is the 600 years of Christian history that existed in the Middle East prior to the coming of Muhammad.
Oh,
Because again, all we hear is Mecca was full of pagans. Muhammad came and saved them from theism. But there's still a whole 600 years of history between the time Christ came and when the time Muhammad came. What does the Middle East look like in those 600 years? Is it all just paganism and polytheism? What was happening in Spain for 600 years? Were they just backwards and didn't care for themselves or their people? I think there's more to the story here we have to explore.
all
And
right.
subjugation, we can talk about that as well. Subjugation of peoples, because it's happened everywhere. It's
I would,
happened
and
everywhere, and it's happened under Islamic empires. There was in America, we hyper focus on the slavery and the subjugation that affected us and the people who endured it.
mm-hmm.
But just as there were Africans going from West Africa to America, there were Africans going from Eastern Africa to the Ottoman Empire, and
Mm-hmm.
all over the show. And I don't think we
Mm-hmm.
focus as much on the slavery that was going into the Ottoman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a result of, I think, the American public education system, just what we choose to focus on, because there's only so much so much time in a day, and there's a curriculum, and we have to focus on some things. But I think as we age and mature, we gain a greater understanding of all of history. And the older I get and the more I learn, the more I realize how important it is to learn ancient history as well. What was happening in Russia, Hungary,
We can
Um,
definitely. I would definitely love to have you to come on the show and talk about these things. You know what I mean? That'd be very good dialogue. Um, and I'm more than glad to have those conversations. And also, I would like to say that um, we understand that every nation is on this planet has suffered slavery in some form. So I'm
yeah,
not going to act as if anyone is innocent of that. That's not even my attempt. However,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying. However, when I speak so passionately about those particular things, it's because not that I'm over hyped about it, but in so many areas, and in so many ways, our experience here in these hemispheres are still to this day for some outrageous reasons are still undermined in a way. And it is historical fact. No one came out of slavery the way we did. And I understand everybody went through it, but nobody came out the way we did. So, I'm with the conversation. I'm all for it, and we can set up a date. Like I said, I put my email in the chat. I'd like for you to hit my email. We can schedule a time for us to get on there. You can do a presentation. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a great dialogue, and I truly appreciate you coming on and sharing your thoughts.
yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful for it, and it's one of the things that I'm missing is I have a lot of conversations, but there's not always a back and forth, and I think that's part of the problem in terms of interfaith relations between Muslims, Jews, and Christians. Is we're all in our own little spaces, talking with each other, who amongst all who agree, and I think it's good to kind of mix and share views because I'm a Christian. And I
Hmm.
think that's, I'm coming from a place of mutual respect of those who have faith and who believe in God. And I
I
think if
agree.
you start at that point, you can have great conversations between people who disagree on other things. We don't agree on everything. I totally understand that. But I
Mhm.
think just breaking through and engaging with one another is a good thing. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And I would be happy to be on again another time. So thank you.
Okay. So email me, shoot me an email. I put my email in the chat. Shoot me an email. I email you back. We can contact. We can make contact from there. We set up a date and a time, and come on. It'd be a great conversation.
Yeah, sounds great. All right. Thank you. Take care.
All right.
All right,
Have a
you
good
too.
one.
See ya.
Huh?
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Um, yeah, but brother, I gotta go. I gotta make a move.
Yeah.
Islam. Appreciate the
Islam.
dialogue. Hey man,
Islam.
that was a great dialogue. It ended well. Islam. I love y'all, brothers. Love the
Peace and
Well,
love.
chat. Please share. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Please share.
Sir,
Islam.
part. You
Islam.
got your building.
Peace and love.
Islam.